Welcome to this special deep dive. If you've been following along with our revisiting series, we just wrapped up Riverdale Season 1. All 13 chapters.
Yeah, it was quite the ride.
Definitely. We went through, all the secrets, the feuds, and, oh yeah, the maple syrup. Which, turns out, isn't really about breakfast, is it?
Not at all. It's basically the front for a huge international crime operation. We learned a lot.
We really did. So, our mission today is sort of to consolidate all that. We're recapping how Riverdale went from this perfect-looking town with pep.
Right, the facade.
To a place just completely fractured by murder and, well, secrets going back generations. We'll hit the big reveal about Jason Blossom, obviously. Check our prediction score.
Always fun to see what we got right.
Yeah. And then, crucially, set the stage for Season 2. Because it feels like pure chaos is coming.
Oh, absolutely. Because, solving Jason's murder, that wasn't closure. Not even close. It was more like ripping off a bandage, like one of our sources said.
From an infected wound, yeah.
Exactly. The sickness underneath didn't go away. It just kind of got exposed to everyone. The whole town's foundation shifted.
It really makes you question what innocence even means there anymore.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's dive into the core mystery then, starting at the beginning. The original sin, the first big lie.
Right. Jason Blossom disappears on July 4th. The official story. A simple drowning in Sweetwater River. Tragic accident.
But not quite. Because there was that huge secret right from the start, the one that really broke things open. Archie Andrews.
And Mrs. Grundy. Yeah. They were there at the river.
Yeah.
And they heard something.
A gunshot. Not fireworks. A clear gunshot.
Mm-hmm. But Grundy, well, she was terrified there. Let's call it illicit relationship would come out. So she totally manipulated Archie. Kept him quiet.
And that first cover-up, it's kind of fascinating, right? It sets the moral tone. Archie chose secrecy, protecting this, frankly, unethical relationship over telling the truth about a potential homicide.
Yeah, that's the moment the shiny veneer of Riverdale just cracked. Instantly.
Okay, so while Archie's sitting on this secret, Betty and Jughead start digging.
And they pretty quickly figured out Jason wasn't just some runaway kid trying to get away with Polly Cooper.
How did they work that out again?
The car. Remember, they found his car stashed away, and inside they found he was selling off all his possessions for cash.
Right.
And dealing drugs.
Right, the drugs. So he was already involved in some pretty illicit stuff himself.
Knee-deep in it, yeah. Which immediately made the why of his murder way more complicated. This wasn't just teenage drama.
No, this involved money, crime.
Yeah.
And then came that autopsy bombshell.
Uh-huh. That he wasn't actually killed on July 4th, the gunshot wound was much later, which meant
someone held him or preserved the body somehow. It turned the whole thing from finding a shooter to finding a captor, maybe even a torturer. Super dark.
Which leads us finally to the absolute gut punch reveal in, what was it, chapter 12?
Yeah, the climax. The killer, Jason's own father, Clifford Blossom.
Just devastating.
So we know the who, but the why. I mean, killing your own son. What did Jason find out?
It all circles back to the maple syrup, the Blossom family legacy, their wealth.
Right.
Jason discovered the truth, that the whole Maple Farm operation for decades was just a really, really effective front.
Right.
International heroin trafficking, coming down from Montreal.
Wow. Okay.
So, killing Jason,
Yeah.
it wasn't like a crime of passion. It was cold,
Yeah.
calculated, a business decision to protect this massive drug empire.
That is incredibly dark, and it totally flips how we saw F.P. Jones, right?
Absolutely, because FP confessed. He said he kidnapped Jason, disposed of the body.
But that wasn't the real story.
No, we found out he only confessed because Clifford Blossom threatened Jughead.
Right.
Threatened his son's life if FP didn't take the fall.
So F.P., who we kind of wrote off as this deadbeat dad,
Yeah.
he actually became this sort of martyr dad, sacrificing.
Exactly. It completely changed his character, made him way more complex, and it really complicated the whole picture of the South Side, too.
Okay, so the murder mystery is solved, but the problems,
Yeah,
they run so much deeper. It's like the whole town is built on this stuff.
it really is. Which means we need to look at the families, the foundations of Riverdale. Let's start with the Coopers and the Blossoms.
That feud, it went back generations, right? Something about their great-grandfathers and a killing.
But then Alice Cooper drops that bomb, the horrifying twist.
Oh, God, yeah. They were related. The Coopers and Blossoms were actually blood relatives.
Which means Polly and Jason, their relationship.
Was incestuous.
Ugh.
Okay, suddenly, Hal and Alice's intense secrecy, Hal's hatred for the Blossoms. It all makes this horrible kind of sense.
It does. And Alice's whole framing of the Blossoms as these, like, eugenicists obsessed with bloodline purity.
Wait, she sent Polly to live there with her cousin fiance's family after knowing this.
Peak generational trauma, like you said. It paints the Blossoms as seeing the town, maybe even people, as resources to be managed, controlled. Their business corruption bleeding into like genetic corruption. It's wild.
Meanwhile, you got the lodges, showing the rich elite are just as rotten.
Right. Veronica finds that spreadsheet. 75 years of payments. Blossom Maple Farms to Lodge Industries.
And the payments stopped. When?
Right before Hiram Lodge got arrested.
Huh. So the implication is,
Pretty strong implication that Clifford Blossom engineered Hiram's arrest, maybe to break some old deal or consolidate power. It shows justice in Riverdale isn't really about right and wrong.
it's just a power struggle between these old, messed up families
Exactly, a battleground for power.
in Hermione Lodge. She wasn't just passively involved, was she?
Oh no, she actively hired the South Side Serpents, using Hiram's offshore money, remember, to trash the Twilight Drive-In land.
Which Hiram had secretly bought.
Yep. And then later, she literally forged Veronica's signature on that Sodale contract, her own daughter's signature.
How does she square that? Wanting legitimacy but committing fraud.
Well, it seems for the lodges, family security, or maybe Hiram's orders, just trumps everything else. Ethics included. She's caught in the middle, but keeps choosing the darker path.
Okay, so amidst all this adult corruption and darkness, you have the kids, the core four. They really had to navigate a minefield.
Yeah, the rise of the Core 4 section in our notes really highlights how they adapted or tried to.
Betty's change is pretty huge. She starts as the perfect girl next door, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then she embraces that dark Betty side we saw with Chuck Clayton.
That was intense.
But ultimately, her strength came from, like, teaming up with her mom and Polly, who was basically a spy inside Thornhill.
Right.
And using journalism, using her brain to take down the Blossoms. Not hiding from her darkness, but using her smarts.
It's a big step, weaponizing her intelligence instead of just being the victim of her family's secrets.
And then there's Jughead,
Yeah.
our narrator. He starts the season literally homeless, squatting in the projection booth, the ultimate outsider.
Yeah, his identity was so tied up in just observing and writing about the town.
Until the very end. Chapter 13. He accepts FP's serpent jacket.
Which is way more than just putting on a piece of clothing. It's a huge identity shift.
He's choosing a side. Or accepting a legacy.
Both, maybe. It pulls him right into the South Side world, into that danger, accepting the criminal association. It means the story isn't just being told by an observer anymore. He's in it.
Yeah, that feels like a massive setup for season 2, pulling the narrative right into the crime element.
Absolutely. He's taking on the weight of that jacket, his dad's situation, the whole serpent subculture. It's huge.
Okay. Accountability time.
Uh-huh.
Let's shift gears. Looking back at our past deep dives, analyzing the sources and scripts as we went, what did we actually predict correctly? Let's grade ourselves.
Okay, yeah. I think we nailed 3 really key things. And this was based on the clues, not just wild guesses.
All right, number 1.
The Cooper suspicion. We
Okay.
definitely flagged that their history with Jason was super suspicious way before we knew about the incest or the engagement. Hal's rage, Alice's control. It screamed a massive secret.
Okay, yeah, I remember us talking about that. What else?
Second, the drug angle. When we saw Jason was selling his stuff, we predicted the motive wasn't just going to be simple jealousy or family drama. It had to involve something bigger, illicit activities.
Yeah.
Drugs fit that perfectly.
Right, the stakes felt higher than just high school romance.
Exactly. And third, maybe the most critical one, the frame job on FP.
Ah, yes, the timeline.
The timeline. It was impossible. We figured out the murder weapon had to have been planted in FP's trailer after the kids searched it and found nothing. That meant FP was framed.
Which pointed directly towards the real killer orchestrating things.
That impossible timeline was the key. We knew his confession wasn't the full story, even if we didn't know Clifford threatened Jughead yet. It smelled like a setup.
Okay, so not bad.
Yeah.
We saw the rot spreading.
Yeah.
So now, the future. Season 2. What does all this chaos and exposed corruption lead to? We've got 3 big predictions, right? Based on Chapter 13's ending.
Yeah, 3 major things to watch for. First prediction, Fred Andrews getting shot. That's the ultimate loss of innocence, right?
And Jughead's narration specifically said it was not random.
Exactly. Not random. So, was it retaliation? Because Fred stood up to the lodges, refused Hermione's buyout, or is it fallout from Clifford's drug mess? Either way.
It forces Archie, the moral center, basically, into this much darker reality where doing the right thing gets you shot. His whole worldview has to change.
Big time. Okay, prediction 2. The return of Hiram Lodge.
The vengeance of Hiram Lodge, as we called it.
Right. He's coming home from prison, and we already know he's ruthless, manipulative, he pulled strings from behind bars.
Setting up the drive-in deal, threatening Hermione.
So imagine him out. He's going to want control back immediately, and he'll likely go after anyone who crossed him. Fred Andrews seems like an obvious target, and whatever's left of Clifford's empire.
Yeah, there's a huge power vacuum left by Clifford. Hiram seems poised to fill it. He's definitely dangerous enough.
Definitely. And prediction 3, Jughead's serpent deep dive.
Right, taking that jacket wasn't just symbolic.
No way. His dad's in jail, he's wearing the serpent colors, his whole identity is going to shift. He'll get pulled deeper into the South Side, their conflicts, their code.
Which gives us, the audience, a direct window into that criminal underworld.
An underworld that, let's be honest, Hiram Lodge probably controls or is about to control. Jughead's perspective becomes incredibly important and incredibly dangerous for him.
Wow. So yeah, we went from this idyllic postcard town
Seemingly idyllic.
to a town basically built on, what was the phrase? Maple syrup and family blood feuds. The whole season just peeled back that sticky sweet veneer to show the rot underneath.
It really did. And, okay, here's a final thought for you. Something to chew on. Clifford Blossom is dead. The puppet master behind this particular chaos is gone.
Right, suicide.
But that massive heroin operation, that international drug trafficking network he built using the maple syrup front, that structure is still there. It's intact. It's leaderless.
Oh, wow.
So the question is, what happens now? What new power, maybe even more ruthless than Clifford, steps in to take over that huge, profitable, and incredibly poisonous operation? How much darker can Riverdale actually get when organized crime isn't just a secret, but it's the town's established economic engine?
That is. Yeah, that's a pretty terrifying question to end on. Okay, thank you for joining us for this deep dive recap of Riverdale's wild first season.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be back soon to untangle more complex stories. Until then, stay curious.